Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth and welcome to my Flosstube channel called Savory Sewing. This is a channel that will be about cross-stitching and perhaps other sewing related projects if I so choose. Haven't decided yet. This is my very first Flosstube episode, so thank you so much for finding your way to me. I hope you enjoy. So my name is Elizabeth. I live in Oregon in the Willamette Valley, which is on the West Coast, south of Portland. Uh, my local LNS is Acorns and Threads, if you've heard of it. I live about an hour-ish south, which is close enough, but not too close. I also have a local-ish or a local online needlework shop that used to be an LNS called Starlight Stitchery. They're located in Corvallis, Oregon. And I used to live in Corvallis, but now I live in a city, in a small town nearby. So I have two great cross-stitch resources nearby, which is awesome. I live here in Oregon. I've lived here for about 11 years. I live with my partner, Ryan, photos incoming. And we live in, we live with our puppy. We have a 2-year-old black lab who is sighing dramatically on the other side of me because he's not getting the attention he thinks he deserves. He's very adorable. His name is Journey. He's going to be turned 2 here in a couple weeks. And yeah, so that's basically what there is to know about me. When I'm not cross-stitching or sewing, you can see I've got a bunch of quilts up here, some quilt projects, some cross-stitch I'll talk about in a bit. I am a very big gardener, so you might also end up seeing pictures of my flowers if they look particularly good. Some things look really good this year. We've had a really interesting weather patterns here in Oregon this year, so some things look fantastic. And then we didn't get rain for a very long time, so things don't look so good in some places if you're not watering. My background is in horticulture, plant science, plant pathology, so that is kind of my first love, is all things plant related. And that's what I do for work. I am a plant pathologist. I have a PhD in plant pathology, and I manage plant health programs for the state of Oregon. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. So this is my very first Flosstube. I know I've said that like 6 times now, but it is. And so I thought I would start with I'm going to talk a little bit about how I got back into cross stitch, or got into cross stitch really, and then I want to show you my 3 favorite finishes to date. And then I thought I would do just your normal floss tube. And then I'm also have everything prepped to do a WIP parade. Probably, hopefully, if there's a video number 2, it will be a WIP parade, or it might be a finish parade for 2023. I haven't decided yet. Both things sound fun to me. So how did I start cross stitching? Well, I think this is a story you've probably heard many times. There was a pandemic that started in March of 2020. And so I was at home, working from home, needed something to do. I did have a sewing machine and a whole bunch of fabric, so I could have been quilting. However, apparently that wasn't enough. I needed something new. So I decided, I honestly don't know why cross stitch was a thing. I can't really know. I don't really remember my thought process. I know I had a couple diamond paintings. So my sister had gotten me this diamond painting, which hopefully is popping up right here, of a sparkly owl for my birthday that year. I'm a big fan of owls. I think you'll see this one in all its glory in a minute. There's an owl here. There's an owl here. There's a lot of owls in this room. And for some reason I decided maybe I'll try cross stitch. I had learned how to cross stitch when I was a kid. My mom cross-stitched. I remember making a Christmas ornament for my kindergarten teacher. So that would have been the late 80s. And then I didn't do it again until actually I did stitch a little like subversive Christmas cross-stitch in maybe 2018, 19. I know I bought it at Starlight Stitchery when they still had their shop, their brick and mortar. And I will, if I have a picture, I'll put it in here. And then in March of 2020, I bought a pattern off of Etsy, ordered all the DMC through Michael's pickup. And just let me tell you, order, if it hasn't changed, I haven't tried, I will admit, since March of 2020, because it was such an awful experience. But at that time, in order to order DMC on Michael's, they don't have all the DMCs listed individually. You had to like go into like a group of colors and then hope that the number you were looking for that you were there, and they weren't in any order that I could distinguish at the time. So it was an adventure. So this is the pattern, or this is the project. This is my oldest WIP. March 29th, 2020, I started this bad boy, and it's still not finished because honestly, it's kind of a bear to stitch. It's the start screen of a video game called Stardew Valley, which I had been playing at the time. It's an adorable game. If you've never played, if you like Animal Crossing or The Sims, this is very much in that same vein, only it's, I want to say, extra adorable and just lovely. You start a farm. There's a town. There are villagers. There's mining. There's fishing. There's all the things. It's full coverage. It's stitched on, I believe, 14 count white Aida. All the called for DMC. I think I made the horrible mistake of trying to stitch it 3 threads over 2 because 3 threads over 1, because I didn't know what I was doing. So it is awful to stitch. And that's why it's not done. You can see there's only a few spots left. I could get this done. It just takes forever because there's like 1 or 2 stitches of one color, and I don't know if you can tell how stiff this is, but like, I don't even know how to hold it, but it holds itself up because it's so stiff. I will insert a picture. This is what the map's supposed to look like. This pattern I got on Etsy. Again, I can't recall who it was, who the designer was, but it's really nice. No fault to that. It's just, also the stitches look really terrible close up in some spots, but I will get it finished. It was supposed to be finished for its 2nd birthday, and then its 3rd birthday passed several months ago, and someday. It's my only WIP left from 2020 that's not done, so we'll get it done. Anyway, oldest WIP, first project back into cross stitch in 2020. Also, this is my only gaming full coverage piece. All the other stuff that I've stitched since then looks very, very little like this. So if you're like, oh, she only stitches gaming stuff in full coverage, well, I actually don't. Or vice versa. If this is what you were hoping for, I'm going to disappoint you because I don't think I have anything else video game related, and very little that even approaches full coverage. So anyway, more owls. So next I'd like to show you my 3 favorite finishes of all time. One of them is right here. This is, let me coat hanger just because I took it off the wall and I wanted it to stay up. This is my favorite, still my favorite thing I've ever stitched. This is 100 Owls by Owl Forest Embroidery. This was the stitch along that started in 2020, I think. I started it in fall of 2020, finished it sometime in 2021. What else is there to say? It's amazing. It's stitched on 32 count Lugana and limestone, which is the called for color. I think the pattern actually called for linen. I hadn't stitched on any linen at that point. And, folks tell you how scary it is. It really, so I decided to start with an even weave, which wasn't scary. Also linen, not scary. So, and it's finished into a basically wall hanging. I just made like just sewed them all together, flipped them out. And then these are just picture hangings from Amazon. They're magnets, and this just hangs on the wall in the living room. And it is absolutely amazing. I don't know if you just heard that laugh. Hopefully not. But my partner is watching the Jackass movie and living his best life all the way across the house, but the cackling keeps coming. So if you heard maniacal laughter, that was him. If you didn't hear maniacal laughter, I'm happy. Okay, so number 1 favorite finish of all time. Stick it back over here so you can continue to enjoy its beauty throughout the rest of the video. All right, 2nd finish that I'd like to show you is this one. This is from the Witchy Stitchers Patreon. It is, I believe, the pattern you get when you join, or it was when I joined. I believe it's still available on her Patreon. I don't actually know. This is called Coven, Sweet Coven. And I believe it's charted monochromatic. I like purple. Purple is my favorite color, purple and green. So if I have the option to bake something purple, I probably am. So it's all in étoile, which I doubt you can see. Just two purples, this light and this dark. This is white, and then there's a dark gray in here too. I'll move it closer. And then I replaced some of these single cross stitches for these drippy bits with beads because I happen to have grayish beads and white beads. And I think I even had lavendery purple beads that worked out really nicely. And this is in a frame that I got at a local antique mall that just happened to be perfect in all the ways. So this is Coven, Sweet Coven. I think best cross stitch day so far of my life was when the Witchy Stitcher shared this on her Instagram. And it got a lot of likes, and I felt like I maybe had stitched something gorgeous. So I got way more likes on her Instagram than it did on mine, let me just say. But yeah, this is Coven, Sweet Coven by the Witchy Stitcher. It's just, I think this is chalkboard black. It's even on Ada. It's on Ada. Can't even tell. It looks gorgeous. All right, so that's that. Stick it back over here. And then my third finish favorites, I don't actually have. They were gifted. Pictures here. These are these adorable punny dinosaur ornaments, Christmas ornaments from Stitcherovia. They're still available on her Etsy page. These were stitched for my niece who loves dinosaurs and puns. She got them all as her Christmas ornament one year. And they're just adorable and hilarious. I mean, Raptor present for you. Try Tysantosaurus Rex. Have a roarsome Christmas. And I think, what's the other one? No, I don't have them in front of me, so I'm remembering. There's a fourth one. Anyway, they're adorable. They're all in her Christmas stash now. So, yeah. So those are my three favorites things I've ever done. And now I think I'm not going to do life update because this is my first video. There's nothing to update you on because you don't know anything about me yet or have, over my life. I'm not going to show any haul. I don't think I actually purchased anything this month. Anyway, I'm in a few clubs, but I mean, I don't even remember what those fabrics were or flosses were right now. So I don't know where they are. They've already been put away because I didn't plan ahead. So there is that. So I'm going to talk about, I've got two FFOs. I'm going to show you the little one first and then the big one. So this was a start and finish right around the 4th of July this year. And so this is called just a little Ruth Bader Ginsburg Dissent, which has just been wrapped and it's mounted. Well, it actually just fell off as I picked it up, but it's mounted on this little wood block and it sits on my shelf. I stitched two pieces on the 4th of July, one Dissent related. This was the theme of our 4th of July party this year, which was technically on the 8th of July, but was Dissent. Dissent is patriotic, folks. And I believe this is by LaHoopla Co, this pattern. And there's supposed to be like a crown on top, but honestly, after stitching this, I was done and I thought it looked perfectly fine and fit beautifully on this little block. This is available on Etsy. And then my second FFO is this gorgeousness. And I'm hoping this looks fine. Okay. Oops, maybe it doesn't look fine. Here we go. This is When Witches Go Riding by Tiny Modernist. This was a 4-part stitch along in 2021, I think. I finished it and it's just been hanging out until I found a frame. This is actually an off-the-shelf frame. This is an 11 by 17 from Michaels. Nothing exciting, just black. And it just happened to fit perfectly in here. This is stitched in all the called for floss, which is 3 classic colorworks, Rainy Day, Mossy, and Baking Tin. And then I think DMC 310 and the white. It's not Blanc, it's 3865. And the fabric is Diversity by Mystic Fabrics, and it's a 16 count Lugana, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. The reflection's not great. Maybe I'll pop some photos in because it is really gorgeous. The fabric this purpley gray just looked perfect with the rainy day and the baking tin. And I just love this green. I bought so much more of this mossy and rainy day because purple and green are they're my colors. I stitch a lot of Halloween, so they're great to have in my collection. And I just love this. She hangs on a wall in our bedroom. I convinced my partner to let me take this one little wall we have and just hang up all my Halloween and witchy cross stitch on. So I just started working on that. And so this is the centerpiece right next to Coven, Sweet Coven. I mean, do they not look amazing together? I think they do. All right, so those are my FFOs for July, which is more than I was anticipating. I'm terrible at FFOing. Not okay. Let's rephrase. Technically, I can FFO just fine in terms of wrapping things, lacing things, all the things. Getting it done, not so good. I have a bin, and as I was thinking about making a WIP parade or a finished parade, I realized that lots of things are finished and sitting in a bin, which I don't think is uncommon amongst cross stitchers, but I need to be better about it. So I actually have you can kind of see there's a basket here. This is the FFO plan. And there's a lot of things with their finishing items that I just need to get them done. So I feel good about that. There's probably 6 or 8 things in there that have a plan, which is more than there were last week. So we're moving on. Okay, so next on my list, all right, we'll talk about finishes. I actually had a number of finishes in July. I was really trying to focus on getting some things done and getting things that were close to being done. I was also traveling a lot, so I took, small things with me that I could, and because I was in a hotel room for work, or in a plane or on a bus, I could dedicate some time to those things when, I wasn't home. I didn't have to, didn't have other things to do when I wasn't working. So I did get a number of things done. For July this year, I did focus on stitching on some Christmas pieces. I also focused on stitching some patriotic-ish pieces. As you saw, I Dissent. I consider that to be patriotic. You might not, but I do. The other pieces that I stitched that were in that vein that I actually finished this month are this one, just dog hair on it, shocker. This is Liberty. This is Little House Needleworks. This was a kit last project that was sold last year that came with the Belle Soie silks and the pattern. And I just thought it was cute. And it was actually really easy and fast to stitch. This is, I think this is 32 count vintage country mocha linen. I have a bunch of vintage country mocha, so oftentimes when I just need a nice neutral, that's what gets stitched. And I just think it looks. I like having the two of them together. They were my 4th of July stitches, and I think I actually got pretty close to finishing them both on the 4th. It was a Tuesday. We just hung out at home, and I think I got everything done but the Dissent collar, because let me tell you, that back stitching was a beast. So this is 2 of my 3 patriotic pieces that I finished. I also consider this to be patriotic. This is Never Give Away Your Power. This was a freebie from, oh goodness gracious, Mama Witch Cross Stitch for the 2022 elections. If you provided proof that you voted, she would give it to you for free. And it's on, I think this is Picture This plus Alchemy. It's either Alchemy or Valor. I don't recall. And it is the called for gray and blues. She had it charted in like peaches. I just didn't have those. So it was 3, like a medium, a dark, and a light. I just picked reds because I thought it would look nice on this fabric. So those are my 1 FFO and 2 finishes so far. We'll get those out of the way. I also finished this little guy. This is Modern Folk Embroidery. This is one of the Stitch for Ukraine pieces that he released last year. That's the Ukrainian. That's the word for peace in Ukrainian. I actually don't know how to pronounce it. I just think I don't know how to pronounce it. And I stitched it. These are 2 classic color works. I want to say it's Golden Star and actually I think I have that right here. I do. This is the bin of floss that needs to go back where it belongs, into its home. Golden Star and Granny Annie. So just a pretty a yellow and a blue, which, you know, Ukraine. And a nice little finish. I think this is going to be a little pillow. I started this on the 1-year anniversary of the, I don't know, does it have an official name? I should know this. Of Russia invading the Ukraine. I think like a lot of folks, I purchased a lot of pieces of patterns in support of Ukraine, and I'm trying to stitch them. So this was this year's. I've also stitched a couple others, but they were last year's pieces. So I've got one more finish, I think. Three more finishes. All right, before we switch to, well, actually, it doesn't really matter. The only Christmas piece I finished this year was this one. This is We Santa 2022 by Heart and Hand. This is on 32 count Peach of My Heart by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers, and almost all of the called for. I changed the green to one I had because I didn't want to buy just a green for like, I don't know, the 50 stitches that are dark green in this. I will say I do love Heart and Hand. They call for a ton of colors, and sometimes there's only like 5 stitches and I sub out. I will say I think I have that. I do have the chart for this. I will say can you see this chart? Do you see how vibrant that pink is of his jacket? That is why I purchased this. I will say and it's not because it's on this fabric. That, I don't know if this is the photos issue. It probably is. Or if it was my floss, but that is C. Shelley by Classic Colorworks. And it's not that fun, bright pink in real life. And I am a little disappointed by that because I would have liked him to have a fun, bright pink. But he's cute, right? And he's done. And the beads are on, and it's a finish. It'll go in a little frame and hang out and be cute at Christmas time. I've got 2 more finishes. I'm going to start with this one. This one just came back out of my FFO planning, so I'm just going to show it to you with its FFO plan because I think it's kind of a mess. But this is Whimsy Halloween by Teresa Kogut, and eventually it's going to get put on board and then attached to this piece of black wood and then be a cute little Halloween thing. I think she's adorable, this little witch. There's a couple more of these witches that I might stitch. There's one with like an angry house, and then there's a third one that I can't remember what it looks like at the top of my head. But I just think it's super cute. I finished it. It's going to get fully finished and then out for Halloween. This is not stitched with all the called for. I believe all the called for is DMC, and I subbed in some random over dyed. Like you can see her dress is all in an over dyed, where the called for DMC wouldn't have been, you know, you've got that really pretty variation there you wouldn't have seen. But and then it's on, I don't know what the fabric is actually because it came in a random pack of unnamed fabrics. But she's cute. She'll get FFO'd. She's gonna go back into the FFO bin now. The other plans. One, and then my final finish for July. I meant to get this finished in June, but I ran out of the green that I needed to stitch all the little leaves, and so it didn't get done until that showed up. So this is Modern Folk Embroidery, Move Forward in Love. And I love this. It's going to get framed and hung up year-round. It's stitched on, this is Lugana, Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. I'm in their Fabric of the Month club, so if it's a 32 count Lugana, it's probably Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. And I think it's called Silver Moon. And I think it just sets off. It was charted on pink, and honestly, I do love me some pink. I didn't have a pink that would work, and I thought this would be a good choice. And I think it is. It's stitched. in some of the, so it was charted in DMC, it's stitched in some of the DMC, and then some of it is over dyes, because why not? You can see actually this purple is Rainy Day because I love it. I love this little bluebird. This is a Threadworks that came from, I was in the Bird Crush Club last year, and that's a Threadworks that was there. The green is also a Threadworks that came out of the Bird Crush Club called Grass is Greener, and that's the one I ran out of. I underestimated how many little green leaves there were on this. And then if you've seen this, you've probably seen a number of folks stitch this at this point. There was a monochromatic version and then an all color version, and I combined the two because I wanted to stitch. I didn't want to stitch all that full coverage in the middle. And I liked the way this looked. I did change this to be like a little rainbow heart. It was all one. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. So those are all my finishes so far in July. It is July 30th. So hypothetically, I could have another finish tomorrow, but odds are not good. All right. So those are all my finishes and fully finishes. Let's just double check the list that I didn't miss anything. Nope. Those are all the things. So now let's move on to WIPs that I worked on that didn't become finishes. I'm going to start with, well, let's start in the, keep going with the Pride theme. So last month, the Stitchers Collective and the Starlight Stitchery had a charity Pride bundle that you could purchase with a donation, and they made the donation to some Pride related charities. I think they raised like $15,000, which is crazy. And I purchased it, and this is the pattern that I've stitched that I chose to start with. This is called it's Noctiflora Designs Be Queer Do Stitchcraft. And it's also on Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. I think this is called Razzmatazz. It's just really pretty pink purple. And the letters, the Be Queer Do, it'll say Stitchcraft at the bottom. If I can find a photo, I'll pop in what the pattern looks like, or maybe someone else's finish if I can't find that, because I just have actually, it might be in the PDF. If I can, you'll see what it looks like. But anyway, it's got like scissors and pins and these thread bobbins. And I'm stitching it in DMC 310. And so far, I've chosen this. This is Classic Colorworks Anti-D, which is like a purple blue variegated, because I thought it would look nice with the fabric. I don't know if it's actually showing up at all to be like worth the time, but this one's already stitched. And I think it looks fine. So there's that. This all lives in my Move Forward in Love project bag. I stitched this myself. As you can, I think as I alluded to, I have lots of fabric. So usually if I am so motivated, I will make project bags to go with my projects. And this one got one. So all my Pride pieces live in here. Move Forward in Love used to live in here. You can see the bag actually says Move Forward in Love. I have a sewing machine. I got a new sewing machine year before that can do letters. So I was testing it out. So there is that. That's Be Queer Do Stitchcraft by Noctiflora Designs. I believe if you didn't get the bundle, I believe the designers will be releasing these patterns in the future. I think. I don't know. All right. Move Forward in Love. Okay, let's see. Next thing that I worked on this month was this one, which doesn't look very impressive. I will pop up a photo of this. This is butterfly wall or moth and butterfly wall or mounted butterfly wall. I've seen folks call it different things. I think in my pattern it just says butterfly wall. And so it's just a bunch of little moths and butterflies in frames. This is by Night Spirit Studio. I purchased this as part of, and I'm stitching this in support of the designer of Night Spirit Studio. Her name is Sage. The hashtag, I believe, is Stitch for Sage. She was having some health issues, and so folks were purchasing her patterns and stitching in support. And so this is the one I picked. I'm stitching it with all the called for DMC, and this is a Forbidden Fiber Co. This might be Latte. It's a neutral. I'm also in the Forbidden Fiber Co. Fabric of the Month Club, and I get 36 count. And she rotates between a bright and a neutral every other month. So this is one of the neutrals, which is just a nice neutral. Next in my pile is, let's do this one. So this is, all right, next WIP that I worked on this month was Dark Queen of the Earth by Autumn Lane Stitchery. So this is, as many of you likely know, a monthly release stitch along that lasts about a year. And I think the last bit's about to come out in 2 days. I think August 1st is the last piece, which is the back stitching and beads. And this is where I am. She's a big lady. I will say I actually have no idea which part I'm finished with, because by the point at which I got behind, I just decided I was going to stitch what I wanted. And honestly, I was so tired of stitching brown. I started stitching her bodice, put her arms in. She doesn't have a head because, like many folks, I was not particularly impressed with either of the face options. So I don't know which face or what face she's going to have or when she's going to have a face. At this point, my plan is to finish everything else and then figure out the face situation. I'm not going to get rid of her just because I do like the rest of it. And I've stitched a lot of it and I think she's lovely. I just don't like the faces. I try to stitch on this every Saturday. And so the reason why she didn't get a lot of love in July is because I was really only home for one Saturday or had plans in which stitching on her was not really an option. So I think if I try to get an hour or two on her every Saturday for the rest of the year, I should be able to get her finished. She's stitched with all the called for DMC. This is one of the called for fabrics by Under the Sea Fabrics. It's the green one. I don't know what it's called. I also have the beads and all of the things. It's been really fun to stitch her. It's a lot of stitching. Yeah. Yep. And she actually has her own custom, I don't know. Is it really a custom bag if I made it myself? I guess that is the definition of custom. But she has this project bag that I made for her. This is, I actually really like this bag, so I'm showing you. Some of them are so I won't show you. But this is Ruby Star Society, Sarah Watts, so at Watts a lot. She had a line of fabric called Tiger Fly, which came with this pattern that had these gorgeous butterflies on it. And then I just really liked this is the selvage. It says, "She is fierce and ever changing." And I thought that, that would be a good Dark Queen of the Earth sort of motto. And so I made this little bag. This is gingerbread fabric. It's like a little bit metallic gold. And this bag makes me happy even when stitching her is not making me so happy. She's got a lot of brown stitching, a lot of boring stitching in her, but she's gorgeous. So hopefully we'll get her done this year and hopefully she'll get ahead at some point. We shall see. All right. Okay, so that was that WIP. All right, now we're going to move on to the Christmas WIPs. I only have 3. And then I have one new start, I guess, that I didn't finish. So I technically had three new starts in July, but 2 of them were finishes, so I'm not going to show you those. I already showed you those, actually. So this is Second Day of Christmas. Hello from Liz Matthews. I would like to stitch all of these. I have finished the first one. And then I'm hoping to get, I was optimistic. I was hoping to get this one done this July so I could start the third one and try to get 3 done this year. I don't think that's going to happen. Although I will say this is a quicker stitch than I had originally thought. It's just a lot of counting on those snowflakes. And honestly, this is also really tedious to stitch, but it looks lovely. This is on the called for. This is 40 count fog, called for DMC. And you can see, actually, I made a mistake here. And so I just flipped it and kept going. Look at those little turtle doves. And then I'm customizing. So the houses all have initials in it. And so I put my partner's initials are in this house. And then I'm going to put my initials. And then there's one more little house. And I'm going to put a J for Journey and a little paw print. Because that's our little family. So that's what we're going to put in here. So yeah, I like that one. I do enjoy stitching on that one. That's just that that border, and I'm done with it already. And speaking of borders that I'm kind of done with already, here's another one. So this is Santa's Trips by Barbara Anna Designs, and I believe this was also a stitch along back when it was released, but I have the whole pattern. And this is on 40 count Silver Fox, I believe, by Fiber on a Whim. Don't quote me on that, but it's a really pretty blue gray green, and I think here, actually I have it here. Sorry for the crinkles. It's charted on just like a neutral, but when I was trying to pick fabric, I had this, and I just thought that this color, this is DMC 501. I thought it just looks so nice against this, and the rest of the colors like just look they just look good. So I'm stitching it on this instead. And my goal for July was to get all 3 of those boxes on the top done. I had one and a bit of this one done at the beginning of the month, and I might be able to get there if I stitch on this for the rest of the day, maybe put some time in it tomorrow. And then, you know, Santa and Mrs. Claus, like, they still need their faces. They don't have skin yet. And then this is just like 2 more houses, and then another tree, and then the outline of the snow globe. And then if I'm so inclined to finish the border, but like this border is really cute and it's not hard by any means. But what I realized, and you'll see when you see the next WIP, I'm working on another Barbara Anna as well. And this is my last WIP. This is winter stitching. This is from the February 2021 issue of Just Cross Stitch magazine by Barbara Anna Designs. I'm going to put a picture in so you can see what the whole thing looks like. It was also charted on just a cream, like a neutral linen. I think I'm using most of the called for. I think I might have switched a couple because I decided to do it on this like starry, I think this is a Zweigart starry gray or starry something. I like the way it looks a lot. I actually hate stitching on this fabric because I don't like the way, something about the holes in the linen on this. Like this 40 count is easier to stitch on than this. I think this is 16. I think this is 32 count or 28 count. I don't even know. But the point actually was that these are like basically the same border. These leaves are the same, and these little berries are the same. But I would like to get this finished. I actually had a goal. This was supposed to get finished in February, and then other things happened that were more exciting, and now I really wanted to get it finished this month, but there's so much stitching left. There's a whole bunch of snowflakes, another snowman or 2, the houses down here. The other thing I'm thinking about is putting some blue in this, and not just having it be red, white. Actually, it's, yeah, red, white, and then there's like a darker gray and like this lighter gray. And so I will have decision paralysis until I figure that out. I'm thinking about maybe making some of the houses blue. And then there's like some snowman hats or something that might make sense in blue. But anyway, I really like this. I think it's super cute. And I also really like Santa's Trips because I like all my WIPs, or I would get rid of them. But those are all of my WIPs for July. And then I have one more thing to show you, one new start, which is, I'm going to show you the pattern first because it's here. This is Modern Folk Embroidery, Dream of a Winter Garden. This was the bonus pattern that came with the Modern Folk Embroidery Evertotes Roxy Floss Co. Holiday Countdown box for 2022. And so I'm stitching it with whatever flosses from that that were called for from the box. So they're here. And all I have done, and this is probably all I have done, is that tree in the center. So this is a 28 count linen by Needle Bling Designs. It's called Pearl. It was a special edition, limited edition. And I don't even remember when or where I bought it from. But it's just it's not quite white, and it's got kind of a tiny bit of pink gray to it, I think. I can't really, you're not gonna be able to see it on the camera, but just trust me, it's a little bit more interesting than stitching on white. And I thought it looked really nice with the colors. I did have enough fabric left from the Frisian band sampler. Actually, I did not. I think I got 36 count, and there wasn't enough left to stitch this on. Or I would have done it on the Panettone leftover bits from my Frisian band sampler, but I didn't have enough. And then I just wanted to say, I love this color. I would like Roxy Floss Co to make this a color. Oh, it's also not. Let's see if I put it here, if you can really see. But this color is called Marion Bright, and it is like a beautiful variegated corally pinky something or other. I don't think there's any red in it, but it's beautiful. And I would like more of it. I don't know what I want to stitch with it. I just want to look at it. So I think that is everything in terms of what I've stitched this month. And thank you for sticking with me through all of that. Hopefully you could see everything. I know the lighting was a little wonky. I haven't quite worked out where I want to sit in this room and where the light sources are going to be coming from. I've got a window here. I've got a light here. I've got a light here. And the shadows, I could tell as I've been filming, have been a little bit less than desirable. But as long as the shadow's on my face and not on my project, you're not here to see me. I understand. So that's that. Plans. I guess let's talk about plans in two ways. We'll talk about plans for stitching for August and plans for the Flosstube channel and whatnot going forward. I think that is reasonable. So for August stitching, I sort of stitch themed every month. Like I have like certain things that I want to stitch, and I kind of put them into a rotation monthly. And then I have a few things that I stitch on like days of the month, like a lot of folks do. Like I like, you dark 13 stitching, stitch on spooky Halloween on the 13th or the 25th, the 24th, maybe you stitch on Christmas. I try to do that just because otherwise I might not pick up pieces. I'm not a hard and fast rule stitcher because stitch what you want when you want. If I don't feel like stitching it, I'm only stitching for myself generally. I do stitch a few things for gifts, but given that this is something that I do because it makes me happy, I stitch what I want when I want. So for August, I try to stitch on things that are garden or flower themed. So I'll be pulling out some of those pieces. And I try to stitch something on dark 13 stitching. I'll pull out a piece. I really want to get the second day of Christmas done. So that will probably be the piece I pull out on the 25th. Every Saturday I stitch on dark queen. On Sundays, I try to stitch something with owls in it. I don't do religious stitching, so there will be no religious verses or Sabbath stitching as some folks do. So my Sundays are for the owls. And yeah, I don't think I have any real. I'd like to get some of these FFOs and my FFO pile done. Most of those are holiday related. Yeah, I can see from here. Well, you can't see, but I know that there's 3 or 4 Halloween pieces in there that I'd like to get finished before the fall so I can get them up. And yeah, so those are my plans. Flosstube channel plans. I don't know if I can commit to more than monthly. Mostly just because we have weekend plans, and I don't know if I think monthly is sufficient at this time in my life. I would also like to do a WIP parade. I I had actually filmed a first floss tube back at the beginning of June, and then the world got away from me, and I didn't finish the one thing I needed to do to post it in the beginning of June. So I have been slowly putting these things together for now the last 2 months. Um, so that is mostly prepped and ready to go. I have all of that. I just need to film it. I had also done like a 2023 finish parade sort of style thing in my first iteration of this, and I might still just pull all that back out because it's still kind of prepped. And I think having a mid, in theory, if this continues, having mid-year check-ins are really nice in terms of what WIPs I have and what things I've finished. Um, we shall see. So I guess if video 2 comes up and it's a finish parade or a WIP parade, you'll know what I decided. If otherwise, you'll see me in a month and it'll just be business as usual. Um, so yeah, that's all I've got. Thank you so much if you've made it this far. I really appreciate your time hanging out with me and checking out the things that I've been working on. So hope you all have a great rest of your day, week, month, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.